ain't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Boruto chapter 66 review. Alright guys, this chapter right here was absolutely insane. The first thing, which is going to be the biggest thing, Boruto died. Boruto literally died in this chapter. Now, that in itself is a very difficult statement to actually even say, but also believe. We see Boruto in the future, episode 1 and even chapter 1, after the time skip. He's fine, he's alive, he's literally about to fight Kawaki right then and there, but story-wise, he died. Now, most likely, again, 9 times out of 10, probably it's bumped at 11 times out of 10, they're gonna bring Boruto back. How will they bring Boruto back? I have absolutely no idea. I'll talk about that a little bit later in this video, but of course, I do kind of want to give the background and the backstory about exactly what did happen in this chapter. Kawaki and Boruto fought. Now, it started off with essentially a soul shot of Kawaki. In the last chapter, we had a question: how did Kawaki get his karma seal? That was answered in this specific episode right here. Ida, which has the ability to see everything that's happening at any given moment, she actually said that, hey, Kawaki got his karma seal the same time that Kawaki got his arm fixed. If you guys do not necessarily know, Kawaki got his arm blown off versus Delta. Now, he didn't necessarily get it fixed until after the Isshiki Otsutsuki battle. He got it fixed by Amato. She is guessing that Kawaki got his karma seal at that specific time, and it's very important that I'm saying that, hey, she's guessing. She said probably. Kawaki probably got the karma seal right then and then. She doesn't know fully. Now, we know that they have a clairvoyant blocking room in the Hidden Leaf Village that Ida probably doesn't necessarily have the option to see into it, but she could have probably seen Kawaki and Amato walk into that room. So I think it's very safe to say that, hey, Kawaki most likely got the karma seal right then and there. Now, another question that I definitely did have was, how did Kawaki get an eye? One of the things that we did see in the last chapter is the fact that Kawaki's eye looked extremely different. And in this chapter right here, we know for a fact that it's extremely different. Kawaki's eye has the abilities that Isshiki Otsutsuki's eye had, specifically the Daikogaten and Sukuna Hikona, but how did he get it? Now, I think the normal assumption is going to be that the eye comes along with the karma seal, but we've seen Kawaki enter this form of the karma seal before. If you guys don't necessarily recall, back in about episode 203, Jigen came to Naruto's household and Kawaki entered this stage of the karma seal. The only difference was that, one, Kawaki didn't really get the fight, but also Kawaki didn't manifest the eye as well. So of course, we don't fully know, but I think the most logical way to, pretty much explain this is the fact that Kawaki's karma seal got a little bit more mature and it was then able to affect the actual eyes that Kawaki does have. Similar to how Boruto, when he did enter that stage of the karma seal, he also manifested a Byakugan. So I'm guessing they manifested Dojutsu of the actual Otsutsuki member that gave them the karma seal, which kind of makes me upset that Boruto doesn't really have a Rinnegan, but that's besides the point. As I said, Kawaki's eye is essentially what Isshiki Otsutsuki's eye is as well. The only difference though is that Kawaki's eye isn't necessarily as matured as Isshiki's eye, and I say that completely as just an assumption. Here's the thing: when Kawaki uses his eye, it goes between 1 triangle and 4 triangles from what we've seen in this chapter. Isshiki Otsutsuki's eye, though, it can't really take any more triangles. There's a bunch of triangles in Isshiki Otsutsuki's eye. I'm guessing that right there is going to be the fully matured version of that eye. I say that because when Kawaki was not using his eye, it remained with 1 triangle. When it wasn't used, that's when it got bumped up to, hey, 3 or 4 triangles. And of course, the stronger the eye gets, the more triangles it would then get as well. Isshiki Otsutsuki's eye being an eye that can't really take any more triangles, it probably tells me that's the strongest version of that eye. Now, throughout this whole chapter, it was essentially a fight between KawaShiki and BoruShiki, or BoruShiki and Kawaki, or Boruto and Kawaki, whatever you guys want to call it. But it was essentially a fight between Boruto and Kawaki. This fight right here was absolutely amazing. I said this in another video. When this comes to the anime, it's going to absolutely break the internet. Not just because Boruto and Kawaki is fighting, but they're fighting at such a level where we understand these two are the strongest characters right now. Not only that, the outcome of the battle is going to be absolutely insane. Again, Boruto actually dying. But here's the thing: they matched each other very well in this specific chapter. Boruto didn't look overwhelmingly strong. Kawaki himself didn't really look overwhelmingly strong. Boruto riders, they have this thing where once they show brand new power-ups, again, Kawaki, they of course have them fight another character extremely strong, BoruShiki in this particular situation. They don't usually land a lot of blows, and especially in this particular battle, I believe I really only counted 1 blow that Kawaki legitimately landed. So essentially throughout the whole entire battle, it was very even through and through. The only time that Kawaki really got the upper hand was when Boruto started to wake up and started to suppress Momoshiki's voluntary movements. Right when Boruto started to wake up, Kawaki used Daikogaten. summoned a absolutely huge black cube out of nowhere, and of course Boruto was about to get crushed. But right when that was actually happening, Boruto was starting to wake up, and I personally believe that BoruShiki could have potentially dodged that because Naruto actually went and saved Boruto. Again, BoruShiki at this particular time moves very similar in regards to speed as Naruto. If Naruto was able to evade that cube, BoruShiki was probably also able to avoid that cube as well. The overall takeaway from the fight, honestly, from my opinion, is that BoruShiki and KawaShiki, they are relatively equal. You might say, hey, Kawaki is slightly stronger, I'll give you that, but it's not necessarily like anything too dominant. Now, it comes to a certain point where we realize that Kawaki and Boruto, they had a plan. Their overall plan was to somehow get Boruto away from the Karma Seal, get Boruto freed from the Karma Seal. But in this chapter, it was also made clear that there was like a doomsday scenario. The doomsday scenario was that, hey, they might have to kill Boruto. Now, this right here in itself is very interesting, and this right here goes to the overall quality of life for Kawaki. And the reason why I say quality of life is that Naruto has the ability to make Kawaki's life very difficult. Now, we understand that Kawaki is extremely strong, 1v1, some people might even take Kawaki over Naruto, but it still doesn't necessarily defeat the fact that Naruto can actually make Kawaki's life extremely miserable, not only because of the fact that Kawaki loves Naruto, but also the fact that Kawaki is literally living under Naruto's roof. You see what I'm saying? We realized very quickly that Boruto was also in on this plan. Boruto woke up and he essentially says, I know what's going on, Kawaki, and I agree with it. If I wanted anybody to actually kill me, it would be you. Remind you, at this particular point, Naruto is going absolutely ballistic, but this right here is super important. He looks to Boruto I'm talking about, and he says, take care of him and Wadi and Mom. He's essentially saying, I'm resolute with Kawaki's opinion. I even agree with it. Kawaki's not necessarily going completely rogue and killing Boruto because he feels like it's right for Naruto. No, they came to a joint agreement. You see what I'm saying? So I personally feel like Kawaki is kind of set free. He wouldn't necessarily be punished by Naruto, and especially since Shikamaru is also there. If Shikamaru wasn't necessarily there, it's possible that Naruto skews the situation in his mind because, of course, he's very emotional. It is his son, but since Shikamaru is there, a very unbiased witness, he might tell Naruto later on, yo, Kawaki did the right thing. I personally believe after this particular situation, if Shikamaru goes out and tells everything correctly, everybody's probably going to agree with Kawaki as well. Sasuke even said to Sarada one time, you may have to do exactly what Kawaki just did. Not necessarily that verbatim, obviously Kawaki didn't necessarily do that beforehand, but he was essentially telling Sarada, there might come a time where you may have to actually be willing to kill Boruto. And of course, this right here, a situation like that actually did arise. So I don't necessarily think that Kawaki is actually going to be ostracized from the Hidden Leaf Village or ostracized from the Uzumaki household, possibly the household, but not necessarily the home in regards to the Hidden Leaf Village. But I think this right here is very important. Once we look back at episode 1 and we see that, hey, Kawaki was essentially telling Naruto, the age of Shinobi is over, I'm going to send you to where I sent the 7th. It begs the question, is Kawaki at that particular time truly evil, or is all of his actions done for the safety of Naruto? And if this right here is actually a precursor, I definitely believe that it's possible that Kawaki is actually good in the future. He's really doing everything for the safety of Naruto. Now, after this chapter, a bunch of questions are still left to be answered. First things first, is Boruto really dead? How is Boruto going to come back? Because we know Boruto is going to come back, as I said from the beginning of this episode. Not only that, what are going to be the moves forward? Is Code still going to have the same plan if hypothetically Boruto is quote unquote dead? One of the things that we do understand from Code is that one of the things that he wants to do is appease the character, of course, that he's listening to, which is Ida. Ida wants Kawaki to stay alive. If Ida wants Kawaki to stay alive, there's no possible way that Code can actually cultivate a chakra fruit from the Ten Tails. Of course, he'd have to feed Kawaki to the Ten Tails. If Boruto is dead, that whole situation is completely messed up. Is this right here, is this actual fight, some people are actually asking me this, is this fight the actual Valley of the End, similar to what we did see in part 1 at the last episode? Is this right here Naruto and Sasuke part Boruto? Are we going to get a time skip directly after these events? These are going to be some very interesting questions that I'm definitely looking forward to hearing what you guys think about, but also seeing exactly how the Boruto writers respond to a bunch of these questions in the next upcoming chapter of the Boruto manga. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. It was very nice talking to you guys about this chapter. This chapter right here is absolutely insane, but it's been your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.